Hey, this is Mark McKeller. I'm a franchisee with Home Investors of America, the We Buy Ugly Houses company. I want to talk to you for a minute about our advertising campaigns. That's really the lifeblood of our business. It's how we generate all these calls directly from sellers that you've heard about, I'm sure, by now. So I want to give you a little detail into how that works exactly. How do you make this work with 1,000 or more than 1,000 individuals all spending money every month together on a national level? How do you coordinate that so everybody gets what they're supposed to get? I can assure you it's coordinated, or we wouldn't spend it. But to understand it, you've got to look at it two ways. You got to look at it first on a national level, and you got to look at it locally. So let's talk national first. We've got our own in-house ad agency, and they manage and spend over $70 million a year for the benefit of the franchisees. And, just that buying power in and of itself is going to give us, some good economies of scale. They're spending that on all kinds of media. They're spending it on direct mail and internet, various kinds of internet. You got SEO, you got pay-per-click, you got Google retargeting, social media. You got all kinds of things on the internet, and it grows all the time. You've also got billboards that we buy, TV commercials, radio in some places. It's just a very sophisticated approach. And, what a lot of people don't understand when you're not taking all those kind of calls is how they really dovetail on each other. Anybody can go out and buy direct mail. Anybody can go try to buy a billboard or a TV commercial. But, the question is, does it make sense for you to do it? And as an individual, it really doesn't. That's why we don't have a lot of competitors that do what we do. I mean, if you go try to buy a billboard, it's going to cost you, way more than it costs us. It'll cost you too much for you to make sense. You won't get enough leads. But at our buying power, we do. We're one of the top 5 billboard advertisers in the country. So we can get prices down to where it makes sense. But makes sense is an operative word, too, because it's not just price. It's also performance. You got to get leads out of what you're doing. And this ad agency, they analyze everything. We've analyzed, hundreds of millions of phone calls over the last 25 years. And we've got all that data, and we know, what makes a phone ring and from who and whether it's the right person and how often you need to advertise to these people. And there's just a lot involved in that decision. We also know that media cross-pollinates. If you do a direct mail campaign, we know if you also do internet at the same time, you're going to get more performance out of your mail because of your internet. We know that if you run a TV commercial, at the very moment that runs, you're going to get increased internet traffic. So you can coordinate how you bid on the internet traffic. And if you can coordinate all those things, then you can get more performance out of your leads. That's what our ad agency does. We don't have to worry about that, but they do that for us. They do all this analysis and all that type of predictive and aggressive planning. So that's the national. Now on a local level, how do you deal with this? I mean, if you're in Dallas, you don't want to take calls in Seattle or New York City. So the way that it works is in each market you're going to have what's called an ad council, and that ad council is usually a number of people depending on the size of the market and depending on how much they're spending. Your council can be smaller, it can be a little bit bigger. And each member of the council decides on their own accord every month how much they want to spend based on their own desires and their own budget. It has nothing to do with anybody else in the council. If you want to spend twice as much as me, you'll get twice as many leads as I will. So you can control your business based on your desires, not based on anything I'm doing. There's no need for you to worry about what I'm doing either, because my money is piled with your money and piled with other people's money. And the more money in the pile, the more leads are generated. So, we don't compete with each other. We don't get each other leads. We all get our own individual leads. So you might ask, okay, well, how many people do that in a market? And it doesn't have anything to do really with number of people. It has to do with advertising capacity. In every market, you're going to have a certain amount of money, a cap on what you can spend. And we all know what that cap is. It's based on advertising per single family household, et cetera. And so, we know what that is in a market. And when we get close to that cap, we'll stop adding people. What we don't know is how many people that's going to take, because if we have a group of people that are really aggressive and spend a lot of money, it's going to take less people to get to that close to that cap as it would if you've got a lot of people that are more casual and want to buy less houses. So you can have two markets the same size, and one's going to, have more aggressive spenders in it, and they got less franchisees in the other market. And these things maybe change over time. So it's a real effort of coordination between the franchisees, and we all make budgetary projections so everybody knows what we're going to be spending, so we know how to manage that. Coordination between the franchisees, the councils, that are the group of the franchisees, the ad agency, and home investors, so we all understand, where a market's going and who to put in there. But it's more about advertising capacity than it is about number of franchisees. So, that's typically how it works. So if you're in a council, you're going to get your own calls based on what you spend, within the budgetary constraints of the council. And if you want to spend, more money, you'll be able to do that because, that'll be planned for because you'll make those projections. So it's pretty coordinated and it's pretty cool. It's the reason that we do what we do. If it didn't work, we'd all go do something else. I can assure you, we wouldn't throw money at it, if it wasn't coordinated and didn't work for us. Another piece about it that's important is because we don't see each other as competitors, we share a lot of resources, okay? We'll buy and sell houses from each other. A lot of the houses we buy will sell wholesale, we'll sell to the same investors. So, this advertising cooperative council is a real promoter to help us get together regularly, talk about business that we're doing, help each other out. It's just a really good kind of an indirect, maybe unintended benefit of the ad council is it really coordinates us as individuals and we help each other a ton. So, for a guy like me that's been around 20 years, that's really as important as anything is that camaraderie and that benefit. I buy a lot of houses from other franchisees and they buy some from me too. So, it's pretty cool the way it works. Anyway, that's it. If you got any more questions, get with the person that sent you here and they can, give you plenty more. Thanks.